BTN Studios in Chicago, and Dave Repson. Dave?
Kevin.
Special day, homecoming on any college campus, but a very special feel in Ann Arbor, Michigan, as the Michigan Wolverines are back home to get November started, trying to on a winning note against the Indiana Hoosiers. BTN football presented by John Deere Gator Utility Vehicles. And today, the Indiana Hoosiers are in Ann Arbor to take on the Michigan Wolverines. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kevin Kugler. It is a chilly November day, and change is also in the air with that chill here in Ann Arbor. As yesterday, Michigan's athletics director, Dave Brandon, who had been in charge since 2010, resigned. New interim athletic director Jim Hackett takes over, at least for the time being, as Michigan looks to move forward with a big change at the top in the athletics administration area. Working with me today, as always, my partner, Glenn Mason. And Mace, we were at that press conference yesterday. We watched the things unfold involving Dave Brandon's resignation. What did you make of yesterday's activities?
Kevin, I was a little bit surprised that it took place on Friday before a football game, homecoming, but I wasn't shocked. You know, there's been an outcry by fans for a long time now about Dave Brandon and his corporate approach to running the athletic program. The students here at Michigan have become very disenchanted with their seat location and ticket prices. You think about all the criticism around the in-game injury against Minnesota to Shane Morris. Just this past week, the public revealing of some contentious emails between Dave Brandon and fans. And let's face it, this football team has been struggling. The winningest college football program in history. And since January 1, 2013, they're 10-12.
And those numbers, of course, will prompt a lot of evaluation of a football program and an athletics department. What about this game today? Does what happened yesterday have any impact as far as a distraction for this team?
You know, I would think that problems with an athletic director wouldn't affect players and a team. But when we were visiting with the players yesterday, most notably Jack Miller, the center, he talked about trying to keep this team together with all the distractions, and he brought up the athletic director. In fact, he said, you guys are probably going to the press conference as soon as you're done with us. So it was a distraction, but now it's over.
One big issue for Michigan has not been who's been in the chair as the athletics director, but it flat out has been turnovers. They can't hang on to the football.
Well, I don't know how you win football games when you're turning the ball over like Michigan. When you think about a turnover margin of minus 14, every coach that we talked about, if you're an offensive coach, you say you got to hold on to it. If you're a defensive coach, you say, we got to get some turnovers. They've got to correct that problem.
Big problem for Michigan, not only the turnovers, but trying to deal with Tevin Coleman of Indiana.
Well, this guy is really special. Everybody we talk to, when they describe Tevin Coleman, they say explosive. And you think about how Indiana has changed their offense. In the past, they've always moved the ball, but they were pass to run, and now they're run to pass. This guy is special.
Michigan making its way onto the field, trying to make this a November to remember. October was certainly a month that Michigan is happy to put behind them. Can they churn forward and make November a successful month? Here they come onto the field, homecoming in Ann Arbor at Michigan Stadium. And the Michigan Wolverines ready to go against the Indiana Hoosiers. Kickoff is coming here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. When we return, we'll check in with Lisa Byington and much more to come here on BTN. Back in Ann Arbor at Michigan Stadium, Kevin Kugler alongside Glenn Mason as we welcome in the third member of our crew, Lisa Byington.
Well, Kevin, as you guys talked about at the top, a lot of changes happening here on homecoming weekend. And interim athletic director Jim Hackett is here watching this game from the athletic director's suite. I'm told that he hasn't officially addressed the football team at all, but University President Mark Schlissel and Jim Hackett did address the athletic department after the announcement was made on Friday afternoon. And that is about 250 to 300 people, including head coaches, assistant coaches, and support staff. The main goal was just to unify this department again and get everyone on the same page. It was much appreciated, especially with all the changes that are taking place.
All right, Lisa, thank you very much. Brady Hoke's Michigan Wolverines trying to get back on a winning note back home to take on the Indiana Hoosiers next on BTN. Don't call it a rivalry. rivalry, but lately you can certainly call it entertaining. When Indiana and Michigan meet up, coaches get heartburn. Great moments, big plays, quarterbacks rushing for over 200 yards, and excitement for every fan in every seat. Last year, 503 yards for Devin Gardner provided the latest heroics. Who writes the next chapter? Kickoff is next. Ann Arbor, Michigan, Michigan Stadium. Indiana taking on Michigan. Michigan has won the toss, elected to defer. Indiana will receive the football. It is a chilly day. Autumn has arrived in the Midwest. Brisk winds today, blowing at the back of the Michigan Wolverines as we start. Graham and Wynn back deep. It'll be Wynn who will watch it sail over his head and through the end zone for the touchback. Indiana with the football first, and my partner Glenn Mason going to walk us through the Auto Owners Insurance Impact players.
Well, guess who I'm going to talk about? Tevin Coleman. He's only 170 yards rushing a game, and Shane Wynn, he had a big reverse touchdown run last week, but as a receiver, he'll get some chances because Michigan will load the box, and then Jake Ryan, the middle linebacker, you know he'll be keying on Coleman all day long.
As will that defense for the Michigan Wolverines, especially with a young quarterback, Xander Diamant, the freshman from California, going to work on the road. Coleman with the carry, and on first down, Coleman out near the 30-yard line. Joe Bolden on the tackle. 5-yard pickup on first down as Xander Diamant. What does this young freshman have to do going against the Michigan Wolverines on the road?
Well, he probably feels like he's a veteran after going against Michigan State last week with no experience in running the scout team. So
they'll run the option here, and Diamant will keep, and he's got a first down. One of the things that Kevin Wilson told us, along with offensive coordinator Kevin Johns, is that this guy can make plays with his feet.
Yeah, he can make plays with his feet. And he said the other thing was confidence he does not lack. That's a good thing in a quarterback.
There's Kevin Wilson in his fall attire. It is a windy day. You've coached in this stadium. What is that wind like on the field?
I'll tell you a story about that in a second. It swirls, but I'll tell you how I found that out.
Now Tevin Coleman will take snaps in the Wildcat, fakes the give, Coleman on the keep, and Coleman to the 40-yard line, picks up 3. The ball bobbled and then came out back on top of it as Ryan may have jarred it out. It'll be Indiana football.
Yeah, that ball never seems to bounce to Michigan. You know, you talk about their problems on offense. They've had problems getting the ball on defense. He might have been down there, but the ball always seems to bounce back to the other team. Colin
Raring recovered it after Tevin Coleman swatted it back towards his teammate just to be sure. So second down and 10 at the 37-yard line. Diamant. Nobody open. Diamant in trouble. And it's incomplete. Dangerous throw by Diamant looking for Coleman. Well, we mentioned the weather today, and it is windy and it is chilly.
Well, the thing I was going to tell you about the windy, I remember I was coaching Ohio State one time and was in there, and I saw Bo Schembechler walking around throwing confetti up in the air, and I said, "What are you doing, Bo?" And he says, "Well, if you coach in this stadium, you got to do that because it swirls." And he's right.
Third down and 10 at the 37-yard line. Xander Diamant looking to the sideline and changing things up.
Yeah, they like to run the ball on third down, especially with Coleman back there. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the freshman quarterback, they'd do it.
Play clock down to 0. They didn't get the play off in time. And that'll cost 5.
Right here currently, still third down.
Now, a timeout was taken first.
Timeout prior to the foul. Timeout Indiana. They're first.
So Indiana saves the 5 with the timeout. Scoreless and a third down play coming in a moment.
Football on BTN is presented by John Deere Gator Utility Vehicles. Own a special edition Midnight Black Gator. Visit your dealer today before they're gone. And by MFS Investment Management.
No score, 13-23 remaining first quarter. 3rd and 10 for Indiana. 2 weeks ago against Michigan State, they never faced a third down of less than 6 yards.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised you see a swing pass or a screen or a draw or maybe even a run. freshman quarterback against this defense, if I'm Kevin Wilson, I'd play a little conservative.
On 3rd down and 10, there it is. The handoff to Coleman, and Tevin Coleman out to the 45-yard line, 2 yards short of the first down. Ben Gideon on the stop for Michigan, and the punt team comes on. You called it, Glenn Mason. With a young quarterback, you're not going to get too risky there. You can play a little field position, although you are punting into the stiff wind.
Yeah, I like that call by Kevin Wilson. They didn't pick up the first down. You play the field position, get off a good punt, make that prone to turnover Michigan offense go the distance.
Eric Toth to punt to Dennis Norfleet. Toth averaging 41 yards per punt this year, but the wind holding this one up. Norfleet calling for the fair catch. A big collision with the blocker, and it goes out of bounds. Norfleet got hit very hard by Ben Gideon, who was blocking down there. And so Michigan no chance to return the punt, and they'll start at the 22-yard line. So the Michigan offense going to work, and we take a look at the Auto Owners Insurance impact players with Michigan in control on offense.
Well, Devin Funchess, he used to play tight ends at wide receiver, 6'5", 230, causes a lot of mismatch problems. And Mason Cole, the true freshman left tackle, I was really impressed how he played against the Spartans a week ago. And then Nick Mangieri, who's their bandit, which means he's half defensive end, half linebacker.
There's Devin Gardner. He's got Justice Hayes starting at running back in the first play. The toss to Devin Funchess. And Funchess on the edge, breaking tackles, and Funchess out to the 30-yard line. Flo Harden finishing him off just across the 30-yard line, and Devin Gardner finding Funchess for his catch, the catch that he's made now in 22 straight games. Gardner, the numbers, 61% on the year, but the turnover is the big key.
Yeah, when you look at his completion percentage, yards, everything looks good. But when you see 9 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, you're not going to win many games doing that.
2nd and 2 at the 30. Hayes the carry up the middle, and Hayes a yard short of a Michigan first down. David Cooper on the stop for Indiana.
Well, this Indiana defense, you know, they've struggled over the years, and they're struggling again, but they're a little bit better. They've got a new defensive coordinator in Brian Knorr, and he switched from a 4-3 defense to a 3-4 defense, and a lot of people are doing that nowadays because of all the spread offenses, but they're playing a little bit better.
Funchess and Smith in the backfield. Davion Smith making his first appearance in the ballgame. 3rd and 1. Smith the carry, and a big hole for the first down. Smith across the 40 before Mark Murphy could finally wrestle him down at the 43-yard line. 12-yard pickup on 3rd and 1 for Michigan.
Well, I was talking about Mason Cole, and that was a little cutback run, and you got to credit the left side of that offensive line. Look at them just bury it on down there and put him one-on-one on a defensive back, and he's not in that space. He's not going to win that battle, that defensive back, many times.
Good run by Smith, who's averaged just under 33 yards a game in his last 7 games. Michigan would love to see him get rolling. On first down, Gardner off the play fake in some trouble, able to get away. Gardner floating in for the sideline, and down the sideline is Darbo. Darbo finally caught from behind at the 23 by Mark Murphy.
Well, this type of play is really what Devin Gardner should be the best at. Play action pass, putting the guy one-on-one so he doesn't have to make a lot of reads, and Darbo gets behind his guy, and Gardner puts it right on the money. 34 yards later, the first down for Michigan. And a big play for an offense that hasn't had a lot of big plays this year. Heitzman in motion. Justice Hayes had an opening. It closed quickly thanks to David Cooper, who swarmed over to make the stop after just a 2-yard pickup. Yeah, when you play that 3-4 defense, you need active linebackers, and you saw David Cooper by way of Coffeyville Community College. A lot of great players over the years have come out of there. He came over and made a good tackle. 2nd down and 8 at the 21-yard line. Funchess and Darbo to the bottom of your screen. Chesson to the top of the screen. Gardner slings it to Funchess. Good play by Murphy, though. Stayed right there, and no gain on the play. Mark Murphy, the senior safety, with the tackle.
Funchess and company trying to convert on a 3rd down and 8 against this Indiana defense.
You see Mark Murphy there. He comes from Akron St. Vincent High School, and there's Brady Hoke. Got the sunglasses on today, which he normally does. No earphones either. Headsets, whatever you want to call them.
3rd down and 8 at the 21. Carriage and Hayes flanking Gardner. Gardner with time. Good hit in the open field by Tim Bennett. What a stick he laid on Justice Hayes to keep him from advancing past the 18-yard line.
Yeah, that's a good tackle. He came right up. He ran right to the guy and through him. Tim Bennett is a guy that switched over from safety to corner. I mean, that's classic right there. There's textbook tackling.
35-yard field goal attempt now for Matt Weil. 9 of 13 this year. His long is 48. This from 35 for the lead. And the kick by Weil. Plenty of distance. The accuracy is there. And Michigan jumps out on top. 3-0 scoring on their opening drive. Brady Hoke and company happy with the start for Michigan up by 3. Matt Weil's 10th made field goal of the year. Good snap and a good hold. The good follow through by Weil and a 3-0 lead. Coming up tonight on the Fox Sports family of networks at 7:30, it's college football on Fox and Fox Sports 1 as Texas Tech hosts the rival Longhorns and unbeaten Oregon battles Stanford. Then at 11 p.m. tonight on Fox Sports 1, it's Utah and Arizona State. Homecoming here in Ann Arbor, Michigan with a 3-0 lead. Kevin Kugler, Glenn Mason, Lisa Byington down on the field. Now ready to kick things off. Shane Wynn and Damon Graham, the 2 deep men for Indiana. This will be Wynn from the 2-yard line. Wynn to the 15, and Wynn stopped just shy of the 25-yard line as we check in our BTN studios in Chicago for a Slim Jim update.
Kevin, Maryland has beaten Penn State for just the 2nd time in 38 meetings. Brad Craddock, who is perfect on the year, nails the field goal, and for the first time since 1961, Terps beat the Nittany Lions.
All right, Dave, what a surprise there. That game was back and forth all day, and Maryland gets the win in what appears to be a very, very contentious rivalry developing already between those 2 squads. Tevin Coleman kind of tripped out of his first break down to the 27-yard line as the ball popped loose, and it's going to be Michigan football. That ball came out and was recovered by Brian Monet. Second time today we've seen Coleman have some problems with it. This time recovered by Michigan.
Yeah, no one happier than Brady Hoke and that coaching staff. That's all they wanted to talk about. They couldn't buy a turnover. They got to hold on to the ball offensively and defensively. They got to fly around, and you can see that ball was clearly out. And big number 90, man, he went after that big time.
Just the 3rd fumble recovery this season for Michigan. But remember, all of those have occurred in the last 2 games. Michigan State, they recovered 2 fumbles and now 1 here today.
And you talk about field position, you got to come away with points here.
From the 27-yard line, Devin Gardner and company with a 1st down. Gardner looking deep for Funchess, and he can't hit him at the 5-yard line. Coverage by Tim Bennett, and it's 2nd down.
Yeah, you know, Funchess made a good move there, and he had room to the sideline, and Devin Gardner just sailed that ball out of bounds, and there was no pressure on him. They had a blitz coming, but it was well picked up by the Wolverines.
I've seen a couple of times, at least in the early going, that Indiana has brought extra pressure, and Michigan's been able to pick it up. On 2nd down and 10 at the 27-yard line. Hayes with the carry, and Justice Hayes finds no room at all. 3rd and 10, stopped at the 27 by Zach Shaw. Sudden change. So far so good for Indiana's defense. 2 plays, no yards for Michigan, and a big 3rd down for Kevin Wilson's defense and for this Michigan offense after the turnover.
Yeah, when they turned the ball over, there. If you can hold Michigan to a field goal or a field goal attempt, that's success.
Four receivers for Michigan. Darbo, the motion man. On third down, Gardner. Open is Darbo. Darbo with a first down inside the 15-yard line. Amara Darbo wide open. Antonio Allen finally able to close on him at the 14 of Indiana.
Well, it's a good play call by Doug Dussmeyer. Call something where the ball can get out of the quarterback's hand in a hurry, because you got to anticipate the pressure, and then credit the supporting cast because they picked up the blitz.
So Michigan converting on third down, and now first down in the red zone at the 14-yard line. Only the 20th trip into the red zone, as Michigan had come into this game with only 19 red zone appearances. Smith on the carry, and Smith's going to lose a yard, maybe two, back near the 16-yard line. That's because Bobby Richardson got into the backfield and completely blew up that play.
You talk about red zone offense. They've been great in red zone offense. Their problem, they can't get in the red zone.
Second and 12. See the numbers on red zone conversions. 18 for 20 with that field goal earlier. Trying to come away with more than a field goal on this trip after the Tevin Coleman fumble. Second and 12. Smith again. Steps through a tackle. Shrugs off another. And a good strong run by Davion Smith. Stopped near the 6-yard line. What a block base by A.J. Williams on the outside.
Yeah, he did a fine job. And, you know, they created some mismatches there because Michigan put the trips receivers into the boundary. Normally you see that to the field, so it forced Indiana to make an adjustment I think that they normally don't make, and they got out leverage and a good run.
A.J. Williams starting today. Jake Butt was suspended for the game for failing to meet team expectations. So A.J. Williams got the nod and has already made an impact. Third down and 2 from the 6-yard line. Play action for Gardner. In trouble. Gardner gonna run, flips it into the end zone for the touchdown. Heitzman was there on the receiving end of the flip from Devin Gardner, and Michigan's up 9-0.
Well, you watch Gardner here. He improvises a little bit. You know, he looks a little gimpy on this play. I thought he'd tuck it away and try to run it in, but as he was being tackled, he just flipped it in the end zone. Kind of remind me of Drew Brees.
Now the question is, how close was he to that line of scrimmage?
Yeah, I thought he was awfully, awfully close. Let's watch it right here.
The 6 is the line of scrimmage. What do you think? They're going to look at this one, as you might imagine. Was he past the line of scrimmage when he got rid of that football to Heitzman? If you ask Brady Hoke, he would say not at all. Boy, what a big review this will be in this game.
Yeah, and let's not forget it was called a touchdown on the field. So
right at the 6-yard line is the line of scrimmage.
Right there, right there.
It's got to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field. Here's the ruling.
After further review, the ruling on the field of touchdown is confirmed.
Not just stands, but confirmed.
Yeah, no doubt.
They looked at it, they saw it, they said yes, he was behind the line of scrimmage. Yes, it is a touchdown. And Michigan's 9-0 lead stands with a chance to grow by 1 when the extra point is kicked. Taking advantage of the turnover. Michigan able to punch it in for the touchdown. And Wiles' extra point is good, and it's 10-0 Michigan with 5:22 remaining in the first quarter. One more look at the touchdown. All right, from the 6.
At the 6, I'm saying, here you go, if I'm coaching against Michigan and I'm watching marching right there. I think he's over the line.
The officials disagree, and the touchdown stands for Michigan. 10-0 lead for Michigan. 5:22 remaining in the first quarter. And Heitzman on the end of this touchdown pass.
Well, you know, we have, weird rules in football. And, if the ball crosses the goal line, it's a touchdown. But I think on the forward pass, I think there is a ruling that your whole body has to be across. And you can see his left foot as he was tackled was behind the 6-yard line. So I think that's what they ruled.
So Keith Heitzman with his first career receiving touchdown and a 10-0 lead. Michigan takes advantage of the turnover. A, they usually don't get the turnovers, and B, when you don't get them, you can't take advantage of them. So a very good start for Michigan at home. A lot of football to be played, and Indiana certainly has an explosive weapon in Tevin Coleman, who's had a little trouble hanging on to the football early today. Wynn from the 3. Wynn out near the 25-yard line, and he's down there. So this Indiana offense back to work, Mace, after having fumbled the last time with the football.
Yeah, they like anybody, you can't turn the ball over. I'm sure that's what Kevin Wilson is saying. Michigan hasn't stopped us there. We stopped ourselves. Now let's go back and do the things we can do and get back in this ball game.
Now, it will not be Tevin Coleman to start this series. D'Angelo Roberts will get the nod to start from the 25-yard line. Diamant to the air to Wynn. Wynn with the grab, and Wynn close to a first down at the 34-yard line. James Ross on the tackle as we check in with Lisa Byington.
Kevin, both times that Sander Diamant has come to the sideline, he's asked a lot of questions. Am I doing this right? Did I make the right read? The response from the coaching staff, hey, keep it simple. We can't afford to turn over the football once again.
And Diamant's going to keep it simple here and get the first down. So Xander Diamant, with nobody open downfield, makes a play and moves the chains.
You can tell a lot by body language, and I'm just watching Xander out there, and he looks nervous. The way he's moving around, jittery, he's got to settle down a little bit. And I think that Kevin Wilson and his coaching staff are right. Just don't worry about it. Just play the game and keep it simple and play within yourself.
Now out of the Wildcat with Roberts looking to take the snap. Harris, the motion man, and Harris, the carry. Harris, nowhere to go. Indiana trying to find something that will make a play and take the pressure off, but Michigan was all over that one.
Yeah, that play really had no chance, because when you saw the ball carrier take the ball, he kept going backwards. You're running backwards, you can't have a chance to turn toward the line of scrimmage and square your shoulders.
Going to go back into that Wildcat look with D'Angelo Roberts. A motion again from Harris. This time Roberts will keep. Roberts in some trouble, but he's able to get to the outside and then tripped up. Got out there, but Jared Wilson wouldn't let him turn the corner completely. Excellent tackle from Jared Wilson, who's coming off a career-high 11 stops in the Michigan State game.
Well, they've lined up in an unbalanced formation. You see they missed the tackle in the backfield, and Wilson comes out there, and you see an excellent tackle. He barely got him down. He got him down by his shoelaces, but he got him down.
Third down and 13 at the 34-yard line. So Indiana had gotten the first down and then went Wildcat on the next 2 plays and lost yardage on each. Now Diamant with a 3rd and long to deal with again. Diamant in some trouble, and he's sacked. Back at the 28-yard line, the pocket collapsing. Brennan Byer, along with Frank Clark, meeting at the quarterback to end the series for Indiana. You can see an injured Hoosier still. That's Ralston Evans, the right tackle, down. Made his 19th career start today, and it's a very experienced offensive line. Ralston Evans still down after that sack. They're going to roll Ralston Evans over and Try to sit him up. That's a good sign.
Anytime the medical staff is rolling an injured player over, you're right. It's not that he isn't injured, but it's if there's anything to the head or the neck, they're going to leave him laying there. You can see Xander right here. He doesn't like what he sees, and he goes to go right. He can't do that. He's got to tuck the ball and get back toward the line of scrimmage.
Evans gingerly making his way to the sidelines. It started promisingly enough for Indiana. They got the first down, but then went wildcat, went backwards on those two plays, and then the sack. And that's all she wrote.
Yeah, now you have to punt into the wind.
With Dennis Norfleet, always dangerous, back and awaiting the punt from Eric Toth. Norfleet wants the crowd to get into it here on homecoming. Traffic will be down near the 40-yard line. Excellent field position once again for the Michigan Wolverines. Everything's coming up maize and blue today in a 10-0 ball game. Weeknights join the conversation on BTN Live. It's the most comprehensive nightly college football discussion from the guys who love to talk about the game. BTN Live, weeknights at 6 Eastern on BTN. For the first time since the Miami of Ohio game on September 13th, Michigan has scored at least 10 points in the first quarter. They'd scored a combined 10 points in the first quarter of their first 4 Big Ten games. And they go back to work with Smith carrying the football back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. No gain on the play. Excellent defense from Ralph Green, able to surge in there and make the stop for Indiana. Second down.
When I evaluate the struggles of the Michigan offense over the course of this season, you can see a big reason why. They have problems establishing the run game. That's where it all starts with them, and they just can't consistently get it going.
Second down and 10. Gardner to the air, Funchess on the receiving end. Able to shrug off a tackle and get good yardage out to the 48-yard line before Mark Murphy could nudge him out of bounds.
Well, this is nothing more than a perimeter run from them, a pass, and that's a big guy. When you get it to a 230-pound athlete like him, really good block by Norfleet on the perimeter. They pick up pretty darn good yardage on that. As mentioned before about Mark Murphy, the safety, Akron St. V. You know who the most prominent alum from that high school is?
Who would that be?
LeBron James.
Not a bad alum. I've heard he's done good things in the basketball world. 3rd and 2 at the 48-yard line. Smith trying to find the outside, and he's not going to get there. First man to make contact was Sean Heffern, and Heffern makes the stop at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play, and it's 4th down. Excellent defense by Indiana dealing with the short field. Michigan's offense still milling about on the field. The punt team now will jog on for Brady Hoke.
Yeah, as a coach, you'd like to gamble and go for it right here, but it makes no sense.
Will Hagerup will punt it away with the wind at his back. A wobbly punt. Takes a little Indiana bounce, and not a good punt by Hagerup. Out of bounds across the 20 at the 23-yard line. With that wind at his back, Hagerup knows he mishit that one. And Indiana not buried as deep as they feared after that punt. Tevin Coleman leading the country in so many categories on the ground. Tevin Coleman in rush yards per game, Tevin Coleman in yards per carry, and in scrimmage yards per game. But Tevin Coleman, after the fumble, has been on the bench not only this past series, but on this series. He starts off on the sidelines. D'Angelo Roberts in at running back next to his quarterback, Xander Diamont, and Roberts with the carry on first down. And Roberts not able to find much running room because Joe Bolden was right there.
Well, I know that Coleman fumbled the ball, but unless he's injured, if you're Kevin Wilson, you got to get him back in this game.
He is, in a word, explosive, and that was the word that everybody used to describe Tevin Coleman.
Talking to Greg Madison, the defensive coordinator at Michigan, and I mean, he said we've seen a lot of really great backs, but no one better than this guy.
And we've reached the end of the first quarter here in Ann Arbor. The Indiana Hoosiers on the road trying to win in a place that has been awfully difficult for them and not off to a good start. But Michigan certainly is. A 10-0 lead on homecoming at the end of one.
What is BTN football and beyond? Monday at 7 Eastern on BTN.
BTN today in Ann Arbor for Indiana and Michigan as we start the second quarter of play. Michigan with a 10-0 lead. Indiana 2nd and 7 at the 26-yard line. Diamond on the roll on 2nd down. The pass deflected away. Excellent defensive work along the sidelines by Ramon Taylor, who was able to step in front of Nick Stoner to bat it down.
Well, Xander Diamond better be careful throwing the ball that late in the flat.
Third down and 7. Diamond, little shovel pass to Roberts, and Frank Clark is right there. Burying him for a loss of 1 at the 25-yard line. You can't defend it better than Frank Clark did for Michigan.
No, you can't. Kevin Wilson, they automatic to a good play. They went to the shovel pass versus the corner blitz. And, you know, if you pick it up, if you block Clark there, that ball's going to go a long way. But blocking Clark is easier said than done.
So Frank Clark provides the defense, and now Toth will come on to kick with the wind at his back. Norfleet's going to have to call for the fair catch. Good punt by Toth down at the 29-yard line, where Michigan will start 1st down and 10.
You know, you talk about Dennis Norfleet talking to the coaches. They say, you know, he's really a shifty guy, and he brings an attitude to our football team. He's one guy that plays with a chip on his shoulder. I like those guys like that.
You got to have a few guys like that on the team. Tevin Coleman still on that sideline. You wonder if there's something going on with Tevin Coleman. Has not been out there for the last 2 series, and now the Michigan offense back to work. Gardner on 1st down to the air, and Carriage up the sideline. Lowers the shoulder at the 45-yard line and has the 1st down. Michael Hunter on the stop. But Joe Carriage is a guy that Doug Nussmeier said has been their most consistent player on offense. They want to get the ball in his hands more.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of things about Joe Carriage. They've got a lot of good athletes, but he talked about it. There's a guy that epitomizes the Michigan player, how he approaches practice, everything he does. It's number 36, Joe Carriage from Traverse City, Michigan.
1st down and 10 at the 46-yard line. Justice Hayes, the carry, had a hole and closed quickly thanks to Antonio Allen filling from his safety spot, a pickup of 3. There's Tevin Coleman. Keep our eye on him, and as soon as we know something from Lisa on the sidelines, you will know it.
Well, you mentioned Antonio Allen, the free safety. Everybody in their defensive packages have the ability to play the 8 or 9 man front, which means those safeties have to come down. And when they come down like that, they're really linebackers.
2nd and 7 at the 49-yard line. That's Williams in motion for Michigan. Devin Gardner to the air. Almost intercepted. Flew hard and had it in his hands. And you give Amara Darbo some credit for getting in there and breaking that up, because if he doesn't, Harden's dancing in the end zone.
Well, I can just imagine Doug Nussmeier. He's thinking to himself, watch this. He's going to say, Devin, what do you see here? I mean, there's a white shirt between you and the receiver, and he's breaking on the ball. He's anticipating. You can't throw that. I guess that's why they're minus 14 in turnovers, huh?
Man. Gardner now 8 for 10, 89 yards and a touchdown, but that one almost disaster for Michigan. Gardner with time, nobody open. Greg Gooch, the first man to get there. Darius Latham finished him off.
You know, at times I've really defended Devin Gardner because lack of a supporting cast. But those last two plays, the throw in the flat, and then right, if it's a coverage sack, fine. Put the ball away and run with it. What are you doing?
40th time Gardner's been sacked over his last 14 games dating to last year. Only Brett Hundley of UCLA has been sacked more during that span. Running up on it is Wynn. Wynn looking for some blocking. He's got it. Wynn to the 35, and good field position to start for Indiana at the 36-yard line. Bolden out there to make the stop for Michigan. And a timeout on the field. Indiana trailing 10-0. Good field position for the Hoosiers when we return to Ann Arbor.
Let's go, Dr. Pepper here. Let's go, Dr. Pepper. There you are. College football playoff trophy. Presented by Dr. Pepper. I know I'm not supposed to, but I just want to touch you. You were like the Greek god of trophies. Classic. Timeless. Wish I could host a party for you so I could introduce you to my friends. Selfie. What do you think you're doing?
I still see you, Larry.
Let's go, Dr. Pepper, yeah? Let's go, Dr. Pepper.
Nissan Rogue with Safety Shield technologies. The only thing left to fear is your imagination. Nissan, innovation that excites.
What Duluth trading wild boar mocks feel like. What Duluth trading wild boar mocks grip like. Duluth wild boar mocks with no slip grip. Comfy like a fuzzy bunny. Grippy like a big bad boar. Get a pair. Only at DuluthTrading.com.
Your kitchen table. It's more than a piece of furniture.
10-0 Michigan. After the punt, we watched Will Hauger limp to the sidelines. You can tell he's still feeling a little bit sore after this one.
Well, you know, and you never like the, you got it right on the leg, and can't hurt your leg if you're the punter, not if it's your right leg or left leg, especially the right leg. And in this win, you really don't want to go with a different punter, and Hauger's really been good for them.
D'Angelo Roberts still in at running back for Indiana on first down from the 36-yard line. Diamond setting up the screen to Roberts. Roberts trying to get to the outside, able to break the tackle of Joe Bolden. Ryan Glasgow up there to make the stop of the 41. And for an update on Tevin Coleman, let's check in with Lisa.
Yeah, well, I talked to one of the athletic trainers here on the sideline. I said, is there anything wrong with him? And he says, not as far as I know. And I said, well, he's not playing. He said, well, that's a coach's decision. And just watching him, he has not been around any of the athletic trainers here on the sideline.
Wow. Roberts stacked up. No gain on the play at the 41-yard line. He has his helmet, so earlier he didn't have his helmet. We were wondering off air if there was something to read into that. There obviously is not. He has his helmet. Tevin Coleman just on the sidelines right now.
Yeah, he sure looks like he wants to get back in there.
On 3rd and 5, Diamant to the air. The low throw is incomplete. He wanted Ricky Jones near the first down marker and instead hopped it in front of him. Jordan Lewis out there on the coverage, and the punt team back on for Indiana. I know you don't like fumbles, Glenn Mason, but Tevin Coleman, you'd like to see him on the field if he's healthy.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to forgive and forget if the guy's good enough.
Eric Toth will punt it away. A fumble and 4 punts today for Indiana's offense. Michigan's defense doing its job as Norfleet's fair catch at the 21-yard line sets the Wolverines back up on offense again. Dennis Norfleet, are you not entertained? 10-0 lead.
Today's forecast is sun. Folks, leave the rain.
Our Nissan Heisman watch, Dak Prescott, Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, Melvin Gordon a couple of more touchdowns today. And Amir Abdullah only 1 yard so far today against Purdue. And reports out of Lincoln are that Amir Abdullah may be hurt and may or may not return, is questionable at this point for Nebraska in a 7-0 ball game with Purdue. 10-0 Michigan here, and a little movement on the outside.
That's number 86.
Michigan.
5-yard penalty, still first down.
Unforced errors. Anybody moving on offense drives the coach crazy. But when a wide receiver does it, you tell those wide receivers, you don't even listen to the snap count. You don't listen to anything. You watch the football. For them to move, there's absolutely, every coach will tell you, absolutely no excuse.
Back at the 16-yard line, first down and 15. Justice Hayes next to Devin Gardner. Gardner to the air and to the outside. Great shot by Darbo. Just powering off the tackler to get positive yardage. Antonio Allen there to finish it off. But how about Amara Darbo, who just shrugged off the initial contact from Donovan Clark? Look at that.
Well, I'm a little surprised at that play. The corner was played off, but typically when you throw the ball real quick out there, you need someone to block the corner. There was no one there.
Out of my way, he says. And Darbo upfield. 2nd and 8 at the 23-yard line. Gardner, Funchess, first down. Nice toss, good catch by Devin Funchess. Donovan Clark nudging him out of bounds at the 38, a 15-yard gain.
Protection's been a lot better in this game. Indiana brought a blitz from the secondary again, and you'll see right in the corner, your left corner of your screen there, the back picking it up. Good job.
They spotted that ball all the way out to the 40-yard line, so a 17-yard pickup for Devin Funchess.
They talked about Justice Hayes and Drake Johnson playing more, and that's what we've seen today.
Play action to Hayes, Funchess on the edge. Funchess tripped up as he tried to cut it back. Good tackle by Chase Dutra, the freshman, who was able to stay with Funchess as he cut back.
Indiana's really struggled over the years in defense, and I mentioned before that I see them improve. They seem a lot more aggressive than I've seen them in past years, especially in the secondary.
Indiana, speaking of their secondary, they've taken Bennett, Antonio Allen, and Michael Hunter, 3 starters, and moved them out for the moment, have gone to the bench. 2nd and 8 at the 42-yard line. First carry of the day for Drake Johnson, and Johnson with a big hole. Drake Johnson down the sidelines and out of bounds. Johnson only 41 yards rushing all year, but he's had a couple of good weeks of practice. Brady Hoke told us yesterday we knew we'd see a lot more of him today.
Well, watch Drake Johnson, just a little counter play, and he'll see green grass on the outside. He bounces it outside. He puts a nice move on. I like how he just didn't run out of bounds. He tried to get that extra yardage. Every inch counts for Michigan right now.
Donovan Clark, the guy that got juked by Drake Johnson. Norfleet in motion on first down at the Indiana 40-yard line. Gardner, now he's going to run. Ahead for 5 to the 35-yard line. Antonio Allen with the tackle, and that's what you wanted to see, Coach, from Devin Gardner a couple of plays ago.
Yeah, I'm sure he went to the sideline, and Brady Hoke and Doug Nussmeier, the offensive coordinator, say, hey, if it's not there, that's not your fault, but tuck it away, get as many positive yards as you possibly can, and look at the difference right here compared to a sack and him running for a few yards. A workable situation.
2nd and 5 at the 35. Michigan on the move, leading 10-0 midway through the second quarter. Gardner on the keep. Gardner able to fight forward to the 32-yard line. Nate Hoff on the tackle, and then a flag in very late at the end of the play.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense number 98. 15 yards from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
It's been a constant problem this year for Indiana. Penalties. Nobody's been penalized for more yardage in the Big Ten than Indiana this year.
Well, you can see, I mean, that's just a cheap shot at the end of that play. Latham, there's no excuse for that. Right here, he'll go right into Kalis in the back. Play is over, whistle's blown. You want to win football games, you can't do those type of things.
Darius Latham with the foul. And the 15-yard penalty puts Michigan at the 16-yard line of Indiana. Gardner with time for the end zone. The ball deflected away and incomplete. Trying to thread it into Funchess. Chase Dutra was in front, Flo Harden behind, and it's second down.
Well, they do a good job. They have a line stunt, and they pick it up, and he saw an avenue, and Dutra almost fell back under that play. Down there, inside the red zone, you throw a goal line pass inside, man, you got to throw it in like a dart. You can't float it in there.
Just the third incompletion for Gardner, 11 of 14, 115 yards, and the touchdown. And now a timeout is going to be called, taken by Indiana. So the Hoosiers use their second timeout. We'll take it as well. 10-0 lead for Michigan.
Football on BTN is brought to you by Cialis.
Kevin Kugler, Glenn Mason, Lisa Byington, our BTN crew today in beautiful Ann Arbor, Michigan. Don't let those light clouds and that sunshine filtering through fool you. It's chilly here today.
Football weather.
It is football weather. Pleased to report that homecoming, those girls much more bundled up than my partner Glenn Mason, who's facing the elements strong today. Second and 10 at the 16, and a flag is down.
False start. Offense number 67. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Kyle Kalis, the right guard, flinching early.
Yeah, you can see him right there. Up just a little bit. 5 yards. Heck, you might as well jump off sides if you can get 5 yards. Penalty's the same. Oh, that heartburn, is that what you talked about?
Yes.
That's what I used to get on those right there.
Second and 15 at the 21-yard line. Gardner to the air. Open is Williams. And Williams upended at the 12-yard line by Tim Bennett. E.J. Williams open. Third catch of the year. Gets some of that yardage back.
Yeah, this is just pitch and catch. Watch, here comes the linebackers, and watch the back come right over there and pick them up. Awful good job by the back picking up the blitzing linebacker.
Third down and 6 at the 12-yard line. Justice Hayes in the backfield with Devin Gardner. On third down, pressure coming. Gardner throws for the end zone. Touchdown! A strike thrown by Gardner to Darbo, and it's 16-0 Michigan.
Good execution. Now watch it right here. Freeze it right there. Here comes the same blitz. There's the back picking up the linebacker, given all the time in the world. Clean throwing lane, and he throws a dart this time for the touchdown. Good execution.
And what did the coaches tell us yesterday on the Michigan side about why Justice Hayes sees more playing time? Because he's the best they've got in pass protection. And he showed it there with that pass protection. More look at it as we go to break as Devin Gardner with the strike to Darbo in the end zone for the touchdown and a 17-0 Michigan lead. 17-0 lead for Michigan. First time in Big Ten play that Devin Gardner has thrown 2 touchdown passes. He's done it here, and we still have some time to go in this first half. Good start for Michigan today, and feeling a little bit better than they have been over the last few weeks with the performance on both sides of the football.
Well, that's what drives the coaching staff and the fans in here at Michigan crazy about Devin Gardner. Sometimes he looks like he's all world, and other times you wonder how he's even playing.
Deep in the end zone, backs up and takes the knee. for the touchback. Let's head back to our studios in Chicago for a Slim Jim update.
Kevin, Nebraska is struggling with Purdue. Austin Appleby, the 25-yard touchdown run. Amir Abdullah just hobbled to the locker room with an apparent leg injury. Huskers driving, but it's a 7-7 game.
A call. Oh, boy, dangerous times in Lincoln if Amir Abdullah is on the shelf for any length of time. Kevin Wilson is bringing his star back into the ballgame. Tevin Coleman has returned and is in the Wildcat formation. And Coleman will keep it on first down. Coleman into the secondary. Breaking tackles, and Tevin Coleman all the way out to the 43-yard line.
Well, that's why you got to get this guy back in the game, because if there's one guy, you only had 32 yards of offense to right now. You got to get this guy in the game because he's got the ability to make big plays.
On first down, Coleman again back in the Wildcat. And a whistle and a flag.
Ball start. Offense number 85. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Check in downstairs with Lisa Byington.
Well, I was watching Tevin Coleman. He did not say a word on the sideline. About 4 or 5 of his teammates came up to him. He just stared at the field. He looked angry and determined to me. His running backs coach, Deland McCullough, made him tuck the football in his left arm 2 or 3 times, told him, forget about what else has happened in this game. Go be you.
Nate Boudreau in now at quarterback, and Coleman with the carry from Boudreau and no gain on the play. Stacked up by Monet and Brennan Byer, who were there to drive Coleman back. And so Xander Diamant's going to take a series to watch from the sidelines as Nate Boudreau, the sophomore from Naperville, Illinois, comes on. There's Diamant on the sidelines looking on. The youngster thrust into the spotlight after the injury to Nate Sudfeld. And now Nate Boudreau is going to take his shots. Second and 15 at the 37. Motion from Roberts and a give the other way to Coleman. Coleman got a block and he got back to the original line of scrimmage and 1 yard beyond to the 43-yard line, 3rd and 9.
Talking to Greg Madison, the defensive coordinator of Michigan, said, how do you deal with a guy like Tevin Coleman? He talked about leverage. You need somebody outside, inside, and you got to keep the guy in front of you. And above all, you have to gang tackle.
Divine Redding in now at running back on 3rd and 9 at the 43-yard line. Indiana down 17-0. The clock down to 2, down to 1 as Boudreau gets the snap. Here comes the pressure. Boudreau is dropped. Michigan brought the house. Bolden and Hill were there to get the sack of Boudreau and force the punt.
You know, I asked that question to Greg Madison. I said, okay, you're going to be facing an inexperienced quarterback no matter who's in there. Why wouldn't you just send the kitchen sink? Well, there it is. That's what we talk about, the kitchen sink. He'd bring in everybody and his brother, and they can't pick him up, and you would expect the inexperienced quarterback doesn't know how to find the hot receiver.
The punt by Toth. Norfleet calling for the sliding fair catch at the 31-yard line. Michigan's defense doing its job, shutting out Indiana. The offense has done its job, 17 points on the board in this first half. 4:32 remaining in this first half, and a 17-point lead for Michigan. Coming up tonight on the Fox Sports family of networks at 7:30, it's college football on Fox and Fox Sports 1. Texas Tech hosting the rival Longhorns. Unbeaten Oregon takes on Stanford. Then at 11 p.m. tonight on Fox Sports 1, it's Utah and Arizona State. At the 31, first down. Gardner with time, wanted to go deep. He had Funches for a moment, couldn't get it to him, and he's dropped back at the 31-yard line by Ralph Green. Just a glimmer of a look at Funches, who was one-on-one in the middle of the field.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that We talked about the safeties coming down for Indiana, still respecting that running attack of Michigan. Even though they haven't run the ball very much, they're putting the safety down there. They decided to go for the home run.
Not a sack for Green because Gardner got positive yardage. So it's 2nd down and 9 at the 32-yard line. Indiana has struggled getting to the quarterback this year. They were tied for last in the Big Ten, coming in with just 14 sacks, and a good play on the edge by Tim Bennett after the catch by Funchess could not advance it, and it's 3rd down.
You know, I really don't understand that play. You know, I mentioned it before. Typically, when you throw it out quick to the wide receiver out there, these are 2 receivers out there, so you can block the guy that's the flat cover, or you have a lineman going out there. But that's just one-on-one. I guess they really don't respect the corners of Indiana, but they're doing a good job right now. Tim Bennett made a nice tackle on a big man.
3rd down and 9 at the 32-yard line for Michigan. 4 for 7 today on 3rd down. Gardner over the middle, and it's intercepted into the arms of Chase Dutra, and he's got some blockers. Dutra to the 20. Dutra inside the 15 and out of bounds. And another Michigan turnover may have provided Indiana an opening late here in the 2nd quarter.
Well, he's got enough time and no one's in his face. I don't know exactly what he sees right here, but man, he threw it right to him. If he was going to Funchess, you got to put some air. You got to throw it over that man, and you can see Funchess coming in behind number 30, but it didn't even come close.
So Dutra's 2nd interception of the year sets up Indiana at the Michigan 12-yard line. Diamont back in, and he gives to Coleman. Tevin Coleman finding no room at all. A loss of 1 back to the 13 thanks to Joe Bolden. Devin Gardner on the sidelines after the interception. Minus 14 turnover margin now, even today. 1 apiece. Quick snap on 2nd down. Coleman trying to pick his way forward, and Tevin Coleman down to the 9-yard line. Frank Clark on the tackle, 3rd down.
You mentioned quick snap. Indiana is the fastest running team, offensive team, as far as snaps in the conference, but I really think they've slowed it down today because of their quarterback situation.
Does that make sense to you to do that?
Absolutely, yeah. For inexperienced quarterbacks to process that information, they can't do it that fast.
And a whistle and a timeout is going to be used by Michigan.
Charge timeout, Michigan. They're first.
So a defensive timeout used by Michigan. A big timeout. 3rd down coming up for Indiana. Greg Madison, Michigan's defensive coordinator, challenging his troops here on 3rd down and 7 from the 9.
Well, here it is again. You can see Gardner's going to try to throw it down the middle, and he sees Funchess coming in on the post route, but he underthrew that the whole way. Just watch it right here. Funchess, big guy running down the middle, and you got a chance if you throw it deep. He put absolutely no air under that. Bad throw.
And now on 3rd and 7 at the 9, they go Wildcat once more. Coleman fakes the give, flips it back to Diamont, and Diamant's going to run it. Diamont met and dropped. Trying something fancy, and instead Michigan would have none of it. Joe Bolden burying Xander Diamont, and now Indiana 0 for 6 on 3rd down, and the field goal unit will come on.
Well, you'll see here a little trickeration, as they call it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The good thing about here, it didn't work, but it didn't take them out of field goal range, and they have an excellent chance to get points on the board. And once again, sudden change, Michigan defense did a good job.
25-yard field goal try with the win for freshman Griffin Oaks. And Oaks' kick hits the upright and bangs away. Indiana empty after the turnover. Second miss of the year. The snap was good. The hold was good. Oaks just could not get it through. Hits off the upright and is gone. After the missed field goal from the 20-yard line, first down, Justice Hayes, a big opening. And Hayes caught across the 35-yard line by Flo Harden. Good run by Justice Hayes.
Yeah, that's the same play that Drake Johnson ran before. A little counter, pulling the backside guard, and he bounced it outside, picked up the yardage they needed.
15 yards on the play, clock running. A minute and counting to go in this first half. Hayes once more, and Hayes met this time in the backfield, and no gain on the play. Flo Harden, good penetration, and it's second down. Michigan with 2 timeouts left. Indiana has 1.
Well, Brady Hoke would sure like to move the ball and get a chance at a field goal at the very least, but he doesn't want to turn the ball over.
Well, going into that wind, doesn't look like they're going to be too aggressive here. Taking a lot of time. Drake Johnson in the backfield with Devin Gardner. Johnson, no gain on the play. Nick Mangieri with the tackle.
Well, the Wolverine fans here don't like it. They're booing, but they'd be booing louder if they turn the ball over. I can tell you that.
Well, don't forget, as we see there, Michigan will have the chance to get the second half kickoff. So they're going to have the ball to start the second half. And a first half, despite the interception at the end from Devin Gardner, a 17-0 halftime advantage for the Michigan Wolverines, and they'll go into the locker room shutting out Indiana for the first time that Indiana's been shut out in the first half since November of last year against Ohio State. So not a bad effort for Michigan in half number 1. Our Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report is straight ahead. Our Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report is next. It is Michigan 17 and Indiana nothing.
BTN is brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance. Highest in customer satisfaction. Find your local agent at AutoOwners.com. And by TireRack.com. Find, deliver, install Tire Rack.
Homecoming in Ann Arbor, and so far the home team treating the alums to a very nice afternoon. A 17-0 lead for Michigan over Indiana. The Hoosiers scoreless in their last 4 quarters of play. Alongside Glenn Mason, I'm Kevin Kugler as we welcome you back inside Michigan Stadium. Good start for Michigan in this ball game on both sides of the ball. They got some offense. More importantly, they've gotten some defense.
Well, the defense has really been spectacular. The way they've been able to defend Tevin Colvin really been impressive. He was on the sideline there for a while, but defense pitching the shutout at halftime.
A little bit of everything when you look at the day of Michigan quarterback Devin Gardner. There's been some good, there's been some bad, there's been some ugly.
Yeah, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Right here, it's a little of all. He's scrambling and he gets tackled, and he just shovels the ball up, and they call it a touchdown. And all right, that's the best play he had. Good blitz pick up, and he rifled it in there. And then this one, I don't know what he's thinking about. He threw it out in the flat, and they flashed the coverage, and again, they're going to come back here. He just holds the ball too long. If it's not there, tuck it away and scramble. You're a big guy and a good runner, and then he goes to Funchess on the post route. He underthrew it, did not see the safety in Robert's situation, and that's one of the reasons why they have minus 14 turnovers.
The numbers in this first half, Michigan, 204 total yards. That third down conversion number is startling. 4 for 8 for Michigan. They're staying on the field. Indiana just can't stay out there.
Well, you know, I would half expect that. They got a young quarterback in there, not much experience. If they can't get positive yards on first and second down and they have third and long, it's going to be a long day.
Well, friends, we're here with heavy hearts as we've lost one of our colleagues at BTN. Nathan Gallant passed away Thursday night after an illness that had him in and out of the hospital for most of the last few months. There wasn't a sport at BTN that Nathan didn't touch in the last few years and positively impact through his work as graphics supervisor. Please keep Nathan, his wife Brianna, and his family in your prayers. Michigan with a 17-0 lead as we get set to start the third quarter here at Michigan Stadium. Alongside Glenn Mason, I'm Kevin Kugler. Moments ago, Lisa Byington caught up with Indiana head coach Kevin Wilson.
Your leading rusher did not play a lot in the first half. Why keep Tevin Coleman out?
Well, I mean, our deal when you fumble, we have the other back, it's just one of our team rules. If you fumble, you're out. It's always been that way for about 20-some years. That's why we've always been one of the best fumble teams. So our other back's pretty good. That's just it's just how we do it. If you let go of the ball, you come out. Gave up 7 points in a close game. Love him, great player, but that's our rule.
I was going to say, how much do you anticipate playing him in the second half?
He's kind of back in the mix, but we got to stay true to our values, our core values, what we're about. Not against him. He's been great with the ball. He'll come back and have a good second half. That's not why we're where we're at. We got to play better. We got to get some stops.
Thank you.
Interesting comments from Kevin Wilson on Tevin Coleman. Team rule, if you drop the ball, you're out.
Yeah, I understand that you can't tolerate turnovers, fumbles. But I always thought when I was coaching, fumbles will happen sometimes. Sometimes you can be protecting it right, and a guy will put his helmet right on the ball, and the ball goes out. Now, if you're not protecting the ball properly, that's a whole different story.
Kevin Wilson and his star running back not going to be on the field right now because it's Michigan football to start. They won the toss, elected to defer, and so Devin Gardner and company will go to work with Davion Smith starting the second half at running back for Michigan. Motion from Carriage on first down. Play action. Gardner to Darbo, and Darbo down across the 30-yard line at the 31. Mark Murphy on the tackle. And our Quicken Loans quarterback comparison in that first half.
Well, you can see that obviously Gardner's had a heck of a lot more opportunities right there, and he's being a lot more productive. I guess you would expect that, but again, Xander Diamant has really been put in a tough situation.
Davion Smith, the single setback. Smith, nice patience in the backfield to break away from the initial penetration from Tim Bennett, and he fights his way forward for a yard near the 32-yard line. Michigan's offense in that first half scoring on their first 2 possessions. Of course, that second possession as a result of the Tevin Coleman fumble.
Well, you're right. I think that you have an injury on the field, but you think about Michigan offense, one of their big problems has been their consistency, and I go back again, is their inability to continually establish a running game.
That injury you mentioned, Davion Smith, the sophomore, down holding that right leg. We've seen a lot of Justice Hayes today and a little bit of Drake Johnson. See if we can see what happened here with Davion Smith. Bent backwards a little bit.
Yeah.
He's a big physical runner.
Yeah, he's out of Warren Howland High School. A lot of good football players come out of Warren, Ohio area.
One more look at it from a different angle. He was going one way in the ankle, and right leg stayed the other way. Hopefully he'll be okay.
Yeah, he had defenders wrapped around his legs and got bent over.
So it'll be Drake Johnson who comes in for Devin Gardner in the backfield now. Alongside Gardner is Carriage. There's Johnson. Saw him with a good run in that first half. Third down and 3 for Michigan. Opening possession of the second half. And the quick toss dropped by Norfleet. Norfleet had blockers and a little bit of a crease. If he catches that, it's likely a first down.
Yeah, he knew he had the blockers and he knew he had the crease, and he wanted to look at the crease, and typically this was happens. If you take your eyes off the ball and you can see it, he's sneaking a peek downfield and he forgets the ball.
Good to see Will Hagerup back out there for Michigan. We mentioned earlier he was limping off the field his last time out there. Hagerup back out to punt into a wind that's not quite as vigorous as before. Wind at the 24-yard line. Wind doing a lot of side-to-side running, trying to find some room, and doesn't find any. Norfleet chases him out. near the 28-yard line. Indiana's offense going to work for the first time in the second half, and not a pretty picture of those first half possessions.
Well, they're going against a pretty good Wolverine defense. You know, they're ranked up there nationally, and if they had a good offense to go along with it, they'd really be good. But they've been totally shutting down this offense by the Hoosiers. They really haven't been able to get anything going.
Xander Diamant out to work. Tevin Coleman in the backfield. 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line. Here's Coleman. And Tevin Coleman out to the 34-yard line. 6-yard gain on 1st down.
We haven't seen that word that we described him by, explosive, yet he hasn't had a chance to really break one.
They do pace it a little bit here. And the toss to Wynn. Nice little move by Wynn. A yard short of the 1st down where Jared Wilson makes the stop.
You're exactly right. They've picked up the pace of calling their plays. And
the fastest team in the Big Ten Conference as far as pace between plays. But we've not seen much of that so far today. 3rd down and a yard at the 37-yard line. Tevin Coleman driving past Bolden and gets the 1st down. First conversion on 3rd down today, and that was power from Tevin Coleman because Bolden met him right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that was explosive right there because you can see it right here. He's taking it downhill. He's met right in the hole by Bolden, and they're playing pretty hard there, but you can see how strong Tevin Coleman is.
Looked like an Oklahoma drill. Won by Tevin Coleman. On 1st down. Diamant to the air, and a good completion just shy of midfield. That's Simi Cobbs, who makes his 6th catch of the year.
They ran that play earlier in the game, and you can see where Xander held the ball longer. This time he came right out and threw it on time and made the completion.
Pacing quickly, 2nd and 2. Coleman breaking tackles with a 1st down into Michigan territory at the 42-yard line. Jake Ryan, who's been pretty quiet today, comes up, makes the tackle.
Well, I talked about Jake Ryan would be a key player in this game because he lines up right in the middle, and that's where they like to run Coleman, right up the middle.
Up the middle again with Tevin Coleman trying to back his way forward, and Coleman pushing ahead to the 37-yard line. Mario Ojemudia on the tackle. And it's 2nd down. Do you like Indiana going with pace here after not seeing pace really in the first half?
You know, I do. The old saying that, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if she's broke, try anything. And they've been struggling on offense, so let's go. Let's speed it up a little bit. That's what we'd like to do. If we had more experience, if we had Sudfeld still there, that's what we'd be doing. So let's do it.
2nd down and 6 at the 37-yard line. Roberts in now at running back on 2nd and 6. Diamant with time, nobody open, now he's going to run. Gets through Ryan. Diamant on the run to the sideline, and Xander Diamant out of bounds near the 23-yard line. Chased out by Lewis. A good scamper of 14 for Xander Diamant.
Well, when we talked about Diamant to Kevin Wilson, he talked about the recruiting them. They were having trouble getting cornerbacks interested because of all the cornerbacks they had, and they found him out in Los Angeles. He came to camp, and they were immediately impressed. They targeted him for a guy that they wanted.
1st down and 10 at the 23-yard line. Roberts now in, taking the snap. He's got Diamant behind him. Roberts is going to keep D'Angelo Roberts to the edge, and Roberts upended across the 20 at the 19-yard line. 4-yard pickup on the play. Channing Stribling along with Mario Ojemudia on the tackle for Michigan. Indiana moving the football now, picking up yardage on each down, positive yardage for the Hoosiers, and they're in the red zone at the 19-yard line. 3 first downs on this drive. They had 3 the entire first half. 2nd and 6 at the 19. Roberts met by Ryan and dropped for a loss. Back to the 20-yard line. There's Jake Ryan, who had 12 tackles a week ago against Michigan State, his 4th game in double figures.
Well, he's a whale of a football player, and he's made a lot of plays here. And, you know, you get going, and you probably woke him up a little bit because they've been moving the ball a little bit, and maybe he heard you talking about him. he's a tough guy to run against.
Tackle for a loss for Jake Ryan. That's 32 of his last 40 games that he's had a tackle for loss. Roberts again in the Wildcat on third down. Roberts is going to keep Ryan again in the backfield, and Ryan again for the tackle. That was the Jake Ryan highlight reel. Back-to-back plays in the backfield for the senior linebacker.
Well, Indiana went to an unbalanced line, and then they tried to go to the jet sweep, but Jake Ryan saw an opening, and he went and made the play. They hang on for dear life. Wrap him up and wait till the posse shows up.
Griffin Oaks, who had one hit off the upright earlier, on to try the field goal here. Play clock down to 9 as they get set. This will be a 38-yard try. Play clock at 2, play clock at 1. They just get the snap off. The kick by Oaks on its way, and the kick is good. Griffin Oaks gets Indiana on the board, and Kevin Wilson's offense with an impressive drive stalls inside the 20, but they get 3 on the board. And a 17-3 lead for Michigan with 8:31 remaining in the third quarter, thanks to the field goal from the freshman, Griffin Oaks. (17-3) Michigan with the lead on homecoming here in Ann Arbor. 8:31 remaining in the third quarter. Kevin Wilson over coaching up his troops a little bit after the first scoring drive of the day. The Griffin Oaks field goal puts Indiana on the board. Dennis Norfleet, always entertaining to watch, awaiting the kickoff from Oaks. Short kickoff. Norfleet from the 5-yard line. He has explosiveness. Norfleet breaks a tackle and then is drilled across the 25-yard line by T.J. Simmons. What a stick laid by Simmons at the end of that return.
I said it before, and I was referring to the defense, but to me, Indiana's got a lot more aggressive from the standpoint of going to make tackles and playing more physical. I really think their defense is going in the right direction.
First down and 10 at the 25-yard line. Drake Johnson, the lone setback. Play action. Gardner pumps, nobody open. Now Gardner finds Funchess, and he's got the first down at the 37-yard line. Last drive on defense, Jake Ryan really stepped up in a big way. Jake Ryan is our United States Marine Corps leader of the game. Weekly visits to Mott Children's Hospital. He volunteered at Michigan Football Women's Academy. And Jake Ryan has now totaled at least 1 tackle for a loss in each of his last 4 straight. First time he's had 1 TFL in 4 straight games since his freshman year. Here's Johnson on the carry. And Johnson down to the 39-yard line as we go back down to Lisa Byington.
Kevin, you talk about Jake Ryan's hospital visits. He's been very close to Chad Carr, the 3-year-old grandson of former Michigan head coach Lloyd Carr, diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor. You see him there visiting him at Mott Children's Hospital. A social media campaign, #ChadTough, has raised tons of money. You see former players, Denard Robinson, Chad Henne, Charles Woodson. It's raised more than $100,000 for brain tumor research at the Children's Hospital. Those 15,000 bands have been sold, and I'm told that Chad is doing well. He's going through his last radiation treatment next week.
We certainly wish the best for Chad and for the entire Carr family. That's a family thing that everybody goes through. And the Facebook page, Pray for Chad Carr, continual updates, great pictures of Chad and his family. And it really is, when you've got a child going through something like that, it impacts every single member of that family. And the support that they get from guys like Jake Ryan is certainly appreciated and needed in that family.
Yeah, all too often you hear about the negative things about football players in the country, collegiate football players, and we don't talk about how they give community service and rally the cause like this.
3rd down and 6 at the 41-yard line. Gardner under a little heat, open is Darboh, and he's got the 1st down in Indiana territory. Indiana brought some extra pressure, Coach, but good job by Michigan picking it up and giving Gardner time to find Darboh.
Yeah, that's what he has to do, and I'm sure that Doug Nussmeier, the offensive coordinator, is talking about pre-read the blitz, have faith in the protection, and then deliver to the open guy. It's a gimme pass, pitch and catch, move the chains.
1st down at the Indiana 49-yard line. Deaver and Funchess to the bottom of your screen on 1st down at the 49. Johnson the carry, and Johnson hit and driven down. No room to get away from Bobby Richardson, who plowed into Johnson. Lost about a half-yard as we look on the sidelines. You see Dennis Norfleet as he limped off a couple of plays ago, still sitting on the bench on the Michigan side.
I talked about him before. What the coaches said is that he's a shifty guy, plays with an attitude. When you're 5'7", 169 pounds in Big Ten football, you better play with an attitude.
That'd be a big loss for not only on the field on offense, but in the return game. So you hope Norfleet's okay. 2nd and 10 at the 49. Gardner to Darboh. And Darboh advancing forward near the 42-yard line. Mark Murphy on the tackle. That was a long throw for Devin Gardner, and he put something on it to get it to Darboh in time. Career-high 7th catch for Amara Darboh.
Yeah, as you look at this game, this offensive production right now, that they're throwing the ball more effectively as long as Gardner makes the right decisions, but they've got to be disappointed in the consistency of their running attack.
3rd and 4 at the 43-yard line. Funchess in motion. Gardner looking for Funchess, and it's incomplete. Coverage from Tim Bennett. Plenty on that throw from Gardner. Just falls incomplete, and it's 4th down.
That's what I thought too. A little slant route, and he puts a lot of zing on that, and Bennett does a nice job. Good defensive play.
Tim Bennett, 9 pass breakups, tied for 2nd in the Big Ten. It's a decent throw by Gardner and a good play by Bennett. And now Hogger up on to punt. Win back at his 10-yard line. Hogger up that one, and it'll go into the end zone for the touchback. Down there to try to make the play. Delonte Hollowell couldn't get there. And so we head to a timeout. Indiana with the touchback, down 14. Entering today, those are your FBS leaders in rush yards per game. Now that's going to change today. Amir Abdullah only had 1 yard before an injury, knocked him out for the game. Melvin Gordon a couple of touchdowns in the Wisconsin win today. And Tevin Coleman's got 9 straight games with 100 yards or more. He's back out there with 65 yards on the afternoon, 13 carries. From the 20-yard line, 1st down. Tevin Coleman fighting forward for 3.5 yards before Jake Ryan can come in again and make the stop. Boy, we didn't call Jake Ryan's name much in the first half. We've called it a lot early in this second half.
Yeah, you let a sleeping dog lie, and you woke that guy up, man.
2nd and 6 from the 24. To the 25-yard line. Chris Wormley, first guy to get there. Brennan Byer helped finish him off. Of course, Jake Ryan in the middle of that as well.
Well, you know, in all fairness to Indiana, with their quarterback problems, and that allows Michigan to really overplay the run.
3rd and 5 at the 25-yard line. Talked about it earlier, Coach. Indiana does not mind running on 3rd down.
They might have as good chance running it as they do throwing it in this situation.
Diamont gonna run. Diamont, trouble, the ball's out! It was stripped out of his hands as he ran by at the 20-yard line, and it's Michigan football. Ryan Glass Tedesco with the football, ripped it out of the hands of Diamont and recovered it. What a play by the big man in the middle.
Well, I talked to Greg Madison, the defensive coordinator of Michigan. I said, so few turnovers. He said, man, I don't know if we're playing physical enough. We work on strips. We work on going for the ball. We ball hawking, everything you can possibly do. It just hasn't been coming our way. Well, it's coming their way today.
So another sudden change opportunity for the Michigan offense. Xander Diamont frustrated on the sidelines. Michigan at the 20-yard line. Up 17-3 and looking for more. J.U. Chesson, the motion man. Johnson to carry on first down. And Johnson wrapped up across the 17 by Tim Bennett.
I'll tell you, Tim Bennett, that cornerback, number 24, he's playing a whale of a game. I'm impressed how he tackles in the open field. And by way of Ellsworth Community College from Columbus, Georgia, he's a good football player.
Yeah, he's done a nice job today. We saw him on a big pass breakup earlier. His 9th of the year, tying him for 2nd in the Big Ten. 2nd and 6 at the 16-yard line. Johnson staying in with Funchess and Darbo to the bottom of the screen. Gardner looking that direction. Nobody open, goes short now, finds Darbo, and Darbo swarmed at the 10-yard line by a host of Hoosiers. Wednesday night, it's an all-new episode of The Journey, BTN's award-winning original series. It's the show with an unprecedented look inside the Big Ten season. The Journey, Big Ten Football 2014, Wednesday at 7 Eastern on BTN. Journey crew off to a great start with another season of shows. That's must-see TV here on BTN.
Yeah, they do a great job. You know, that last pass to Darbo, he was wide open for a long time, and Gardner finally got to him.
Darbo, 8 catches for 94 yards today, both career highs. First and goal from the 10-yard line. Here's Johnson to the edge, and Johnson into the end zone for his first touchdown. Time coming to get to the end zone for Drake Johnson, who redshirted in 2012, played just 1 game last year before the ACL tear, and into the end zone for the first time in his career in game number 9 of 2014.
Well, they told us both Johnson and Hayes would play more today, and Drake Johnson from Ann Arbor Pioneer High School, he can hit a good 5-iron from this stadium to his high school, and that must have been a tough recruiting sell, huh? But he shows a burst of speed here. Look at this. Fouls outside, goes for the end zone. Touchdown.
Michigan has now recovered 4 fumbles in the last 2 games. They had none in their first 7 games. This one, they cash in for 7. 24-3 Michigan. And, you know, Kevin Wilson not very happy right now. His team has coughed it up twice deep, and it's cost him 2 touchdowns.
Well, when Coleman fumbled, he went to the bench. Now Diamont fumbled. I'm guessing he's going to the bench.
From the goal line, bobbles it, and now we'll go. Jayshun Harris with some running room, and Harris out across the 35-yard line. First down. Now this Hoosier team with Nate Sudfeld out, lost for the injury, or lost for the season with the shoulder injury. You wonder if at any point Kevin Wilson doesn't think what might have been. Would they love to have Trey Roberson back?
Man, would they ever. And I'm sure when Trey decided to leave, and, you know, Kevin wished him the best, but he would like for him to stay in his program because he's an awful good football player. And with Sudfeld being injured, they could sure use him right now.
Illinois State up 7-0 on Northern Iowa. Good matchup in FCS today. Illinois State unbeaten and ranked number 6 in the nation is Tevin Coleman going to work, and Coleman gets out to the 40-yard line for a 5-yard gain. Xander Diamont still in at quarterback. And it's 2nd and 5.
Yeah, old Brock Spack down there doing a heck of a job. An old Big Tenor, Purdue guy. He's a great defensive coordinator. I used to have to bang heads with him all the time when he was there with Joe Tilley.
There are the numbers for Zander today. 2nd and 5 at the 40-yard line. The young quarterback collides with his running back, Tevin Coleman, and Coleman able to burrow forward for a pair to the 42-yard line, 3rd down. Whose fault is it when the running back and the quarterback collide like that?
It's the coach's fault. What can I tell you?
I always forget you did coach in the message board era. It was always your fault. 3rd down and 3 at the 42-yard line. Again, right up the middle, nothing there. Michigan driving back again. Brian Monet, the freshman, had the ball in his hands at the end of the play, but Coleman was stopped before Monet got his hands on the ball.
Right here, that's a big fella. He ripping the ball out of there. Forward progress was stopped and whipped him to the ground, and then the ball came out.
Monet getting some congratulations as we have reached the end of the 3rd quarter here in Ann Arbor, and the folks who've come home for homecoming are feeling very welcome indeed. 24-3, Michigan with the lead after 3.
Farm post-game show immediately after the game, only on BTN.
Start of the 4th quarter here in Ann Arbor, and a 24-3 lead for the Michigan Wolverines, starting off November on a much happier note here at homecoming, the 114th homecoming game. They are 86-27 all-time homecoming, and the 4th quarter will begin with an Indiana punt. Amara Darbo awaiting the kick at the 20-yard line. Remember, we saw Norfleet a little bit banged up earlier. Darbo back to return this one, and it's going to take a little Indiana roll, trickling out of bounds near the 16-yard line. Coming up tonight on the Fox Sports family of networks at 7:30, college football on Fox and Fox Sports 1 as Texas Tech hosts the rival Longhorns, and unbeaten Oregon battles Stanford. Then at 11 p.m. tonight on Fox Sports 1, it's Utah and Arizona State. Football all night on the Fox family of networks. Here a 24-3 lead for Devin Gardner and Michigan as they start from their 16-yard line. Johnson on 1st down. Not much room there. Johnson to the 17, gets a yard. Well, of course, we started the broadcast, Glenn Mason, talking about the changes that have occurred at Michigan over the last 24 hours. Dave Brandon is out as athletic director. He resigns. Jim Hackett now the interim athletic director. And it was an interesting press conference yesterday for this Michigan athletic department, talking about the future of Michigan athletics.
Yeah, and the number one goal by the president, he says, we got to bring everybody back together.
Timeout was taken by Michigan, a flag down as well. Brady Hoke called timeout. Did it come before the flag? Coach Hoke was wondering why the play clock hadn't been reset.
That's Rick Kruger, one of the officials there, listening to Brady Hoke. And
charge timeout, Michigan.
So no penalty. Timeout taken by Michigan. We'll continue from Ann Arbor in a moment on BTN. During that timeout that he had to use that timeout. He thought the play clock should have been reset, and it was not. So Brady Hoke a little bit frustrated. But we were talking before the timeout about the changes at the top of Michigan's athletic department.
Yeah, Dave Brandon resigned, and we went to the press conference, and the president was emphatic. He said, you know, our changes have to take place, and we have to be aware, and we have to communicate with all our consistencies what they want out of this program. And in everything we do at Michigan, we expect excellence, and I got to think he's referring to the success of the football team also.
Second down and 9 at the 17-yard line. Big hole for Johnson. Johnson with a first down and down at the 30-yard line in the arms of Antonio Allen. Michigan will move the chains. Drake Johnson with another first down, 13-yard pickup. Well, for Michigan, post Schembechler, you see the story. Bowler, Carr, Rodriguez, and now Brady Hoke.
Yeah, Gary Moeller, I saw him out at practice on Thursday. He had championship. Lloyd Carr had a great run here with 5 Big Ten championships and a national championship. Then Rich Rodriguez came in and he struggled, and Brady Hoke came in and his first season was 11-2. They thought they were back on track, but they fell on hard times now.
Johnson again on first down, and Johnson upended near the 32-yard line. Since January 1 of 2013, the program at Michigan has been below 500. See, the last 2 years, 10 and 11. The last 9 Big Ten games, 2 and 7. And they did mention yesterday that Jim Hackett, the interim athletic director, would have full power to evaluate any of the coaches in the athletic department, including the coaches in the football program.
Yeah, and quote-unquote, he is a Michigan man. He played here for Bo Schembechler as a backup center.
Second down and 8 at the 32. Gardner to Darbo again. That's been a popular connection today for good reason. Another first down to the 45. Nick Mangieri on the tackle. The new man in charge, Jim Hackett. He stopped by. You had a chance to talk with him.
Yeah, he stopped by. His brother Bill Hackett and I were teammates at Ohio State, and he brought up the fact that a number of years ago in New York we ran into each other and we had a nice visit in an establishment there. And I'll finish my story in a second. I don't want to miss a play.
Well, I want to hear about the establishment. From the 45, play action for Gardner on first down. Steps away from pressure, flipping it forward to Smith, and Davion Smith, who went out with an injury earlier, out to midfield.
Well, we're talking about his brother Bill, and I brought up that my college roommate, Bob Saponaro, married one of his brother's old girlfriends, Jan Antonucci. And Jim Hackett says, man, she was beautiful. I said, Jim, she still is. She got away.
One thing I've learned the last couple of years traveling around with Mace is that Mace has a connection to everybody everywhere.
That's what happens when you get old.
Second down and 5 from midfield. Smith reversing his field, and he's only going to get a yard. Ran into the arms of Darius Latham as we head to our Chicago studios for a Slim Jim update.
Well, Kevin, Nebraska is pulling away from Purdue even without the banged-up Amir Abdullah. Imani Cross with the touchdown run. Huskers on top of the Boilers, 28-7.
So 28-7 lead in Lincoln, but certainly a concern for all Husker fans. The injury to Amir Abdullah. Nebraska does have a bye week next week, but then they've got Wisconsin and Minnesota and Iowa. The West will certainly be up for grabs in the final few weeks of the season. 3rd and 5 from midfield. Blitz again by Indiana. Gardner's going to run, and Gardner's got the first down. Devin Gardner to the Indiana 40-yard line. Antonio Allen on the tackle, but Devin Gardner moves the chains once more.
Well, that's what he's got to do. That's the most important thing a quarterback has to do, is make the right decision. If you drop back to throw the ball and it's not there, go ahead, pull it down and run. You're a big guy. You can be a good running back. And hey, how different is this game this year between these two teams compared to last year? 110 points.
63-47. Gardner had over 500 yards passing last year against Indiana. Wolverines 6 of 12 on 3rd down. First down from the 40-yard line. Johnson again to carry, and Drake Johnson picks up 3 before Chase Dutra can make the stop.
Kevin, would you agree with me? I hope you would agree with me that as you watch this Indiana Hoosier defense, they're much improved of what we've seen. They've got a ways to go, granted, but they're going in the right direction.
Well, the turnovers today, which have always been the problem for Michigan all year long, the turnovers have been huge in this ball game, costing Indiana 2 turnovers that gave Michigan a very short field that they cashed in for 2 touchdowns. Michigan going to hustle up to the line here. The play clock down to 6. 212 all-purpose yards today for Gardner as he hands it to Johnson, and Johnson wriggles forward to the 29-yard line. He gets 8, and here comes a flag at the end of the play. Sean Heffern on the tackle, but there was a little bit of an entanglement between Jack Miller and TJ Simmons on the other side of the field. Jack Miller, the junior center.
After the play was over, personal foul, offense number 60. 10, 15 yards from the spot of the foul. The line to gain was made. 1st and 10.
So the first down, but backing it up 15 after the penalty on Miller.
Well, Jack's the center, and you see him on the back of the play right there, and out of our screen, but he went back after his man after the whistle, and you just can't do that.
Yeah, TJ Simmons, the linebacker that Miller got tangled up with, and the entanglement continued well after the play. Just the 3rd Michigan penalty for 25 yards. It's been a relatively clean game. Indiana just 2 penalties in this one.
You know, entanglement, I don't think in all the years I coached I ever used that term, entanglement.
Now you'll go forward, though, and use that term. From the 44 on 1st down, Johnson showing some shiftiness as he gets down to the 39. We check in downstairs with Lisa Byington.
Kevin, just a couple of injury updates. You know, Michigan is making this run without a couple of starters here. Running back Davion Smith, they retaped that right ankle, but I'm told that he is still questionable to return. And wide receiver Dennis Norfleet has now left. They were examining his right shoulder. He's left and now is in the locker room getting examined.
All right, Lisa, thank you very much. Yeah, we saw Darbo back returning that last punt. Norfleet unable to return. That'd be a big loss if they don't get him back in any short order. Gardner over the middle, and there's a good catch by Deaver, stumbling out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. First catch this year for Bo Deaver as he pulls it in at the 13.
Yeah, it was a good catch by Deaver on a bad throw by Gardner, because you talk about a guy wide open, get him the ball, and you know, right there you see it. He looked like he stepped to left field to throw to right field, and that's why the pass was off the mark.
8th Wolverine with a catch today, and Deaver gets his first of the year. From the 13-yard line on 1st down. Johnson up the middle, and Johnson down near the 5. Tim Bennett saved the touchdown, and now a little pushing and shoving after the play once more. Temper starting to flare. David Cooper got into it with Kyle Kalis after the play. No flag this time.
Well, Drake Johnson, he's got a little extra gear to him. He just looks a little bit faster than those other guys in the backfield for Michigan.
Well, the coaches were raving about him yesterday in our meetings, talking about how this kid has practiced so well the last couple of weeks and had earned more playing time. We've seen a lot of playing time for Johnson today. 13 carries, 75 yards. This is his 14th carry. And this one's not going anywhere. Good defense by Indiana. David Cooper, who was a little pushing and shoving at the end of that last play, took that aggressiveness out on Johnson there.
You talk about practice. We at dinner last night, I was saying how I went by practice on Thursday, and I was really impressed how spirited and how hard the Michigan football team practiced, taking into account how they struggled this year. Looking at that practice, if you would have told me that Michigan was undefeated, I would have believed it. They practiced harder than any team I've witnessed recently on a Thursday afternoon.
Timeout taken by Indiana.
Charge timeout, Indiana.
Kevin Wilson came running out onto the field to get that call. 6:59 to play. Michigan trying to add to a 3-touchdown lead. Amara Darbo, our Duluth Trading hardest working player. A career day, 9 catches, 107 yards. Both career highs for Darbo, our Duluth Trading hardest working player. He's on the receiving end of 107 of Devin Gardner's 220 passing yards today. Gardner now with 13 200-yard passing games in his career, passing Jim Harbaugh and Denard Robinson on the Michigan career list. 3rd and 3 for Gardner and the Wolverines from the 6. Gardner to the end zone, and it's knocked away from Funchess by Antonio Allen. 4th down. Good play by Allen.
Yeah, I told you that I've even watching film coming to this game, I was really impressed how much more aggressive the defensive backs are for Indiana. I saw it on film against Michigan State. They're not afraid to jump a route, try to make a play. Impressive.
23-yard field goal try from Matt Weil.
A fifth-generation Michigan man.
Yeah, how about that?
His father was the team doctor for Brady Hoke out at San Diego State. How's that?
And the field goal by Weil is up and good. And Michigan adds to the lead. Now a 27-3 advantage. 6:48 to play in the fourth quarter in Ann Arbor. Michigan Stadium enjoying what they've seen today. Homecoming, and the home team leading by 24.
BTN is brought to you by State Farm. It pays to double check. Talk to your agent today.
Fall definitely here in Ann Arbor. It has been crisp all day. A little snow in the air last night for the trick-or-treaters in Michigan. 27-3. The trick being played on Indiana today. Down 24 with 6:48 to play. Michigan kicking off. Harris will see it bounce through the end zone, and after the longest scoring drive of the year, 15 plays, 8 minutes, Indiana gets it back. As we look at the running back comparison, about the day Drake Johnson has had. He came in not having a whole lot on the docket. 74 yards today after 41 all year.
Who would have ever thought that here with a little over 6 minutes to go in the game, we'd be talking about Coleman and Drake Johnson. Coleman's had a rough go of it today. Now, Michigan is a good defense, though, and he hasn't been able to break a long one.
That's been the thing that he's done consistently, is come up with one of those big plays. Has not had it today. On the keep, Diamont with running room. Xander Diamont off the great fake, and he ducks out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Had a little extra room. He could have gone down the sideline, but Xander Diamont was going to just be happy to take his yardage, and he gets 35 yards and a first down.
Well, I told you the Michigan defense has been keying on the running back, and why wouldn't you? If Diamont wants to carry the ball, go ahead until he hurts us. Well, he just hurt you, so they'll probably play honest now.
Here's Coleman banging forward, and Tevin Coleman inside the 30, down to the 29. He gets 11. Tevin Coleman trying to get his 10th consecutive 100-yard game. Last time he was held under 100 yards, right here against Michigan a year ago. He's got 87 right now. He had 78 in that game last year in that up and down the field shootout. First down carry for Coleman. And Tevin Coleman from the 29 to the 26 gets 3 more. Jake Ryan with the tackle. Tevin Coleman now with 90 yards on 20 carries, but Michigan's done an excellent job in limiting his effectiveness.
I was going to say, guess who on the tackle, but you knew who it was.
2nd and 7, Coleman again. Trouble in the backfield, and Ryan drops it. Chris Wormley got in there to make a little contact first, and then Ryan with his 10th tackle today. And most of those tackles, Coach, have come in the second half.
Yeah, it's I don't know what the deal was in the first half, but he's come alive the second half. It's not because of lack of effort. That guy only knows one speed, and that's full speed.
3rd down and 8 at the 27-yard line. Coleman again up the middle. Coleman with a first down and was just a shoelace away from breaking it. At the 16-yard line, he gets 11, and that should put Tevin Coleman right at the 100-yard mark. Going to be very close. 10 straight games with 100 yards for Tevin Coleman. First down and 10 at the 16-yard line. And now Coleman will leave no doubt and go over 100 down to the 12-yard line. Brendan Meyer on the tackle. He got his 100, but it wasn't an easy 100 for Tevin Coleman.
No, it wasn't an easy 100, but he's one of those guys that he gets enough touches in the game. Sooner or later, he's going to start getting that positive yards, or at least get a 10-yarder here or there, and it all adds up. Little number times a big number is a big number.
Remember, he's doing this against one of the best rush defenses in college football. But his fumble problem early took him out for several series. 2nd and 6 at the 12. In the backfield, the penetration threw off the play. Chris Wormley was in the backfield as Coleman got the football and Beyer finished it off.
Yeah, when you watch film and you see Wormley, he's got a knack for going and making tackles for loss or disrupting the play in the backfield.
Now D'Angelo Roberts in on 3rd and 7 at the Michigan 13. To the corner. Roberts inside the 5, and Roberts has a first down and goal for Indiana. Delano Hill with the tackle for Michigan. Roberts showing a little good speed to get to the edge there.
Yeah, they came with the option, and I was somewhat surprised it worked that effectively because the cornerback pitched it so early without being forced. And typically when that happens, the alley player can turn and meet the ball carrier at the line of scrimmage.
A little bit of the inexperience showing for Xander Diamont.
I like how he's hung in there. Things have gone wrong, but he hasn't hung his head.
Now Roberts with the carry, and Roberts in for the Indiana touchdown. So the Hoosiers, not giving up on the road, come back and march down to put 6 on the run from D'Angelo Roberts, his 6th rushing touchdown of the year.
You think we can possibly be seeing an onside kick here?
They have recovered 2 onside kicks this year, 2 of 3 in the onside kick department, one of just 4 teams in FBS football to recover 2 onside kicks. 9 plays, 75-yard drive, and the Oaks extra point is good. And now a 27-10 ball game. 3:09 remaining in Ann Arbor. Later tonight, the final drive brings you all the highlights from this game and the entire day in the Big Ten. The final drive tonight at 11 Eastern on BTN. And look at the numbers comparing Braxton Miller last year to J.T. Barrett this year through 7 games. Not too bad for the youngster J.T. Barrett. He's producing.
Remember, before the start of the season, and Braxton Miller, before he got injured, they were wondering if they had a replacement as a backup for Kenny Guyton. I think they do.
Onside kick out of bounds. So the attempt to recover a 3rd onside kick this year fails for Indiana as it goes out of bounds.
You know, we were visiting with Michigan coaches.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team. 5 yards from the place where the ball went out of bounds. First down.
We were visiting with the Michigan coaches, and we asked them about, well, you need 3 more victories to be bowl eligible. And Brady Hoke says, you know, we really care about that. It's a 3-game season. And then, as he puts it, Ohio takes care of itself. Of course, he's referring to Ohio State.
And of course, he's right. That game does take care of itself from a motivation standpoint and an excitement standpoint on both sides. They've got Northwestern as Johnson breaks the tackle, and Johnson into the clear. Johnson caught from behind near the 15 by Mark Murphy. How about Drake Johnson bursting free for 32 yards and now over 100 yards on the day?
I like the term that you use, burst, because that's what he does. He bursts through the hole and he gets to that 2nd level in a hurry. There's got some expression. I mean, he gets excited when he carries the ball.
Is this the coming out party today for Drake Johnson? He's been practicing well. He's earned the playing time, and boy, has he delivered today for Michigan. From the 16, Johnson again. Johnson breaks a tackle. Nice cutback touchdown. Second touchdown of the day. Second touchdown of the career for Drake Johnson, who's having a career day.
Well, he is, and I'm sure all the Wolverine faithful are saying, hey, Drake, where have you been? I mean, that's exciting. He's running with some effort there, and he's getting some good blocking and coming down the wire. That's the type of running attack Michigan needs.
Wiles' extra point is good. And Drake Johnson, everybody giving the sophomore from right here in Ann Arbor a little bit of love on the sidelines. Why not? 122 yards and 2 touchdowns today for Drake Johnson. And Michigan rolling on homecoming. Well, you can't imagine what that young man's feeling other than absolute joy right now. He is our John Deere Gator game-changing performance. Everything you see there, career high, 16 carries, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns. Homecoming, and the hometown hero makes the big plays to help Michigan to a hometown win. Not a bad little story in Michigan lore as Harris brings it out of the end zone, and Jayshun Harris stumbling out near the 30-yard line and caught as he tried to get near the sideline by Hollowell. Well, you know, Mom's got a great seat for this. Pamela is the cheerleading coach at Michigan. And so maybe the cheers have had a little extra vigor behind them when her son gets into the open field. But it's a family affair, and you got to imagine she is awfully excited about the way her son has performed today.
Well, she's smiling for good reason. Michigan's winning, and her son's the star.
Tevin Coleman on first down, and Coleman to the 30-yard line. Just a 2-yard gain. Don't forget our State Farm postgame show coming up. A very busy day in the Big Ten Conference. We are in November. It is crunch time as we wind our way towards settling some division races. A ton of football to be played, but plenty of highlights and analysis coming up in our State Farm postgame show.
Yeah, if I was that man right there, Kevin Wilson, the thing that would concern me going forward, 24 yards passing, only 11 yards passing a week ago. Awful tough in the Big Ten to win like that.
They've been a run-dominated team this year, but not that much run. They've been able to throw the ball. Losing Sudfeld obviously hurts a ton when you give up that kind of experience and that kind of prowess in the offense, and the ability to run the pace that they've wanted to run.
Yeah, that's what they do is, you know, with the quarterback that they have right now, they have to have that run game really going to give the wide open passing attack for them.
3rd down and 5. Xander Diamant, every play a learning experience for this freshman. And on 3rd down, Tevin Coleman slips as he makes his cut, and Coleman able to fight back near the line of scrimmage. Tackle by Ojemudia.
So to finish my point before, as far as bowl eligibility, this will be the 4th win for the Wolverines. Then they play at Northwestern, who got bombed today by Iowa. Then they play Maryland at home, who got by Penn State. And then the game that takes care of itself at Ohio.
They need 2 more wins in their final 3 games for bowl eligibility.
And if you're Michigan, you do not want to be sitting home at the holidays. It's adding insult to injury.
The first game of the interim athletic director Jim Hackett's regime as Indiana takes a timeout with 5 seconds to go. The first game in the Hackett regime is going to be a victory. Kevin Wilson not happy with this as we look at the Michigan schedule.
Here we go. We got that one right there. These guys got bombed today. These guys won. And then the final. So, if, you know, the old saying, if you're getting better, you're getting worse, you got to think that Michigan got better today.
So they're putting 3 seconds on the game clock. Kevin Wilson came out and said there should be 3 seconds, not 5. So there are 3 seconds now on the game clock. How How about just to put a capper on the day for Michigan and the day for Johnson? The first Michigan player to rush for... I think they want 3 seconds on the game clock. Johnson's the first Michigan player to rush for 100 yards in a Big Ten game since Fitz Toussaint in this matchup last season. What a day.
That stat is almost unimaginable to me.
4th down and 5 should be the final play of this ball game. And it's Roberts on the carry, and homecoming goes to Michigan. And Brady Hoke's Michigan Wolverines victorious on homecoming, 34-10 the final. Their 19th straight win against the Indiana Hoosiers. And Brady Hoke's got a lot to be happy about from this game today. His defense played very well. His offense had some moments, and he comes away with a 34-10 win.
And he found a running back.
He did find a running back today, and that young man, Drake Johnson. What a performance he had today in front of friends and family in his hometown. Enjoy it. To the victors go the spoils and the celebration as Lisa stands by with Brady Hoke.
Yeah, well, first, Coach, some pieces to the puzzle offensively coming together for you. And towards the end, what can you say about the play you saw from Drake Johnson here today?
Well, you know, Drake is